Before we talk about where we are, we must first remember from whence we came. Marty Schottenheimer brought winning football back to Kansas City and built what is now known as Chiefs Kingdom.
We transitioned from a team built on its defense in the 90s to one of the most dominant offenses and return men in NFL history, led by Dick Vermeil.
In 2012, a 2-14 Chiefs team displayed disastrous play on the field and turmoil off it. We asked to save our Chiefs, and in came Andy Reid, who immediately turned this franchise into a perennial playoff team.
Then, on April 27th, 2017, the Chiefs broke free from their journeyman quarterback restraints and drafted Patrick LeVon Mahomes.
In 6 years with Patrick at the helm, we're back-to-back champs and a dynasty headed towards a three-peat. We are unrelenting for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the allies. Arrowhead Allies.
Yes! Well, welcome everyone to Arrowhead Allies. It's great to be here. And before we get into anything, we've got Chiefs roster, 53-man is set. But before we do that, we've got our man from the 1-0 SMU Mustangs. Week 0 winners over the Nevada Wolfpack. Rob Likens, receivers coach from SMU. Rob, congrats on the win, man. 1-0. Not a bad start.
No, it was a little scary, little too close for comfort, man, for my taste. But we did pull it out in the end. It was crazy. Well, it snowed. It's August.
Yeah. What is happening? We've been to Reno recently. We went down for the American Century Golf Championship down in Lake Tahoe. So we've been to Reno recently, and like the weather there is so unpredictable and crazy. That's something you don't see a lot in August. So college football's here. We're just glad to have it, Robbie. Congratulations for SMU, man. Your schedule, it's a barn burner this year. You guys have joined the ACC. First off, how big is that for the program? And second, how much are you chewing out those wide receivers? You guys had a tight end that had all your receiving yards in the game. So we gotta go back to the drawing board on something here.
Yeah, we do. That was a little embarrassing. We got to get back to the basics, man. I don't know what happened, but oh man, joining the ACC is a game changer. I wish you could see. We just moved into our brand new $100 million football facility this week. This is like my second day in my new office, and it is the best football facility I've ever walked into. It's incredible, man. So that has been just like a game changer for the attitude, the environment, but recruiting. It's been amazing. So and we got our first ACC football game was going to be against Florida State, and it'll be here at this stadium. So this place, Dallas, Texas, is going crazy over that. It's a very exciting time here.
I love that.
Well, I'm not even going to hop in the box here. I'm just going to ask you, Clint brought him up, RJ Maryland, 8 catches, 162 yards, 1 touchdown. Talk about his performance and what you've seen out of him and his growth coming into this junior year.
Yeah. We out in practice, as we work together, tight ends, receivers, quarterbacks a lot. So I get a chance to watch him and watch his development every single day very, very closely. And his just attention to detail, his intentionality coming into this season has been incredible. I think he sees the light at the end of the tunnel as far as he could play at the next level. Mm-hmm. And he's a tremendous athlete. We were, a lot of teams were on the fence taking him as a wide receiver. He was kind of a hybrid tweener type guy with his weight and his body type, and so a lot of people didn't really know where to play him, and so we have Coach Lashley has done a really good job of kind of okay, let's find his niche and get him. We try to get him locked on to safeties, linebackers, and things like that, where he's a huge mismatch.
Coach, congratulations on that big win over the weekend.
Thank you, Shaggy.
Yes, sir. Specifically to 2 gentlemen that you have, Coach, and we've talked about before on the show. Again, welcome back. I want to talk about Brandon Ayuk and Rashee Rice. You had the
Yeah.
opportunity to coach both of them. In what ways are they similar, and what ways do you see them as different? And what are their strengths?
The way they're similar is they're both really strong and really good blockers. Like they take pride in that, and they both have extreme lateral movement. I think I talked about that a little bit last time I was on the show. Some people call it spot quickness, just your ability to stick your toe in the ground and break at a 45-degree angle and different things like that, and catch a quick screen and the transition from catching the ball to directly up the field. And you saw that with Rashee this year. I went back and cut up all of their quick screens, their one-step fast screens that they ran to him a bunch last year. But he's better than anybody in the NFL doing that. Like, it's incredible. And Brandon Ayuk was the same way. The biggest difference was Brandon does have this elite extra gear when the ball's in the air. He's like ridiculously fast at an elite level.
Rob, first of all, man, I just want to say it's an honor to talk to you, and I love the fact that you're one of these people that has this energy about you where you can tell that you really love what you're doing and you love to talk about it. So it's always good to talk to somebody like that because that's something that I like to be about as well, man. So let me just say that first and foremost, which makes this conversation really easy because we love the fact that we have your guy Rashee here in Kansas City, and I know that our guy Shaggy alluded to it a little bit when it comes to the strengths of what he's able to do, which is get down the field and gallop with that ball as soon as that ball hits his hands. You know, we saw the drop problems early on, but he shook those off. That's something young wide receivers are going to deal with. No matter if you're a deep guy, intermediate guy, doesn't matter. You know, these are things that you're going to have to work on. It's a mental thing. And we saw Rashee in week 7, week 8 really turn it on and never look back. And I'm expecting monster things from him this season in year 2. I think he's got his body and mind aligned, and I think he's going to do some great things. But, you know, I think that, I don't want to speak for you, but I think coaches never stop coaching even when the player's gone, if that makes sense. And I'm sure when you watch, there's things that you probably pay attention to that both Rashee and Brandon do, but specifically with Rashee, is there something you're seeing that you think, man, if Rashee just gets this down, he's going to be one of the best in this league right now? Because I think that he's got that talent. He really does, in my opinion. I think he's a high wide receiver 2 right now, but I think he does have that wide receiver 1 talent. In your opinion, from what you saw from year 1 and maybe what you've seen from some of the practices and preseason so far this season, what is something you think that Rashee could just maybe tinker just a little bit or tweak a little bit to really take his game to the next level?
Man, I don't know if I'm ready to answer that question. I love the question, though. And by the way, Lance, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm coming to Kansas City. I'm partying with you guys. We're getting tattoos.
Let's do it.
DBS, baby.
Joking. I'm not joking.
Let's
I'll
go.
get a tattoo in a heartbeat. I'm not afraid of that. But yeah, man, that's such a tough question because I can't say that I sat down and I studied all of his route running. You know what? I will do that, and I'll be able to answer that question in way better detail the next time I'm on, because if you guys will have me come back on, I promise you I will do that. Because all I really did was watch, because I was really interested in that screen that they did, and it was more of concept-based watching, studying film. But I did not. Number one, I didn't get a chance to watch them until the playoffs because we work on Sundays. I don't ever get to do that. And then the only other times I get to watch the film in the off season, but I'm busy watching our film in the off season, so I didn't do a whole lot of studying all of his routes and all of those things like that. But you know, one thing that I am proud of him, when I went and watched him in the I think it was OTAs, you know, he was new and he was just getting ready, just coming into the NFL. And you could tell, no matter how much you think you're in shape, once you get out there with everybody, you start running down on special teams, you start running all these routes in front of these vets and you do all that stuff. He was dying, you know, he was tired, all that stuff. But I will say this, he got himself in shape, right? He learned the playbook. He was playing all over the place. For a rookie, guys, that's incredible. Like, that's incredible. It's incredible for guys to do it at the college level. He did it on the NFL level, and he did it his first year. And I agree with you, Lance. If he doesn't break his foot in that third game last year. He's a 100% no doubter first round draft pick. Mm-hmm. And I think he would have been up for the Biletnikoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob, this is great stuff, man. It's just always great to hang with you. We're hoping to come make it down for a game this year to cover it. We cover the Missouri Tigers here. We're in SEC country a little bit here. We got to keep the Tigers in mind as, going to be a top 10 team. Just probably going to get in there after Florida State suffered the loss. Missouri's number 11 right now. But I want to ask you about the receiving core in general. Just the idea of a receiving core going through what the Chiefs did last year, which was almost some form of group hysteria, is all we can really chalk it up to. And some of those players are no longer on the roster. Rashee Rice has established himself as probably this team's number one receiver. And you bring in a Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthywell from down at the University of Texas. So
yeah,
have you coached a receiving core that you can think back in your entire career that reminds you of kind of what the Chiefs went through last year? I know you didn't get to see every game, see every drop, every disaster that happened, but it's almost like there was a group hysteria that took place, and just to see a receiving core struggle that much and still wind up winning the Super Bowl. The Chiefs circled the wagons in that way, isn't it? Yeah, it is incredible, and a testament to Patrick Mahomes, of course.
Yeah, drops are a crazy thing, man. And somebody has got to be step up and stop it. They got to stop the bleeding somehow. I think it's a group effort. I think what you do is you close the doors, you huddle up, and it's you against the world, your group against the world. And, that's how you got to go out to every game. You got to get rid of all of the noise. I talked to Aaron Boone, who's the manager of the New York Yankees. And it's the same thing with the athletes in New York. If a guy goes 0 for 4 a couple days in a row for the New York Yankees, it's a big deal. Because everybody asks you the question. They're constantly asking you, which puts it in your mind, and it's constantly in your mind. And it's the same thing when you drop balls. The media doesn't stop talking about it until you stop dropping balls. But the problem is they keep putting that into your mind all the time. And you just got to be strong enough. Somebody's got to step up. They got to come together as a family and a group and say, it's us against the world. We're going to stop the bleeding. Somebody's going to take care of this and be the man, be the dog. And I think that's kind of what they did. I saw a few drops myself, and dude, I've been there. It happens, and it's crazy how it can snowball. And you just got to kind of get it under control. It's a focus thing. It's a thing that you do. You have to do it in practice. You don't just say, hey, we're going to fix it in the game. That's bullcrap. You have to do it Monday through, whatever the NFL practice. For us, it's Tuesday through Friday. You have to take care of those drops during practice that week, and then that builds the confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rob, I'm going to play. I've got 4 plays from Rashee Rice at training camp here.
Okay.
And so whatever you see, it's nothing special. I don't think to take anything from it and finally be able to give Lance his answer on what he needs to work on or anything like that. But just as a coach, what do you see here?
Okay, he looks like he definitely had to kind of you saw the little pause as he came. Oh, a nice punt. So you can try him at punter right there. So when he came out of that break, he kind of paused a little bit. And if you didn't know any better, you would go, oh, he's got to run out of that break. But it looked like there was a defender squatting there, and he was trying to stay under control for the quarterback to throw him the ball, which was pretty good. It's kind of small on my phone right there.
Looks like he had a sharp break to the
that's pretty good. Oh, and he's dunking ball. Wow, he's just an all-around athlete.
He fights through some traffic here in the end zone.
Yes, keep fighting. There you go. Now come downhill. Yep.
Turn your back to the corner.
Yeah, that's pretty good right there. Yeah, man, it's really small on my phone. I'm trying to
get you.
But no, man, I agree with Lance that you can expect for him to be better this year for sure. I don't think there's no way that that was a one hit wonder year and all that stuff. No, that is not his deal. He's going to grow. He's going to get better. Why? Because he's extremely intelligent. He is a very, very, very intelligent football player. One of the smartest guys ever coached in 35 years.
Now, my actual question for you after that film is just, Clint kind of mentioned it there, but with the additions of a speedster and Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, bringing back a McCole Hardman, how does that help Rashee Rice's game with him being a bigger physical guy, working a lot of the underneath, quick game? Can that get the defense to back up and allow Rashee more room to work than he even had last year?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I think you're going to see his improvement now that he understands the speed of the game. Last year, he was coming in wondering what the speed of the game was like. And, and then he went throughout the season and learned it. Now he's coming in. He already knows what to expect, right? If you get faster guys on the outside, it makes everybody back the freak up, right? If you don't have speed on the outside, defenses can just start to suffocate you with their safeties and they could press you up, take care of your outside guys with press, start playing the safeties down tighter than what they normally would. I think it's going to help him out tremendously if he's playing a lot inside, because he is a huge matchup guy versus linebackers on option routes. And then he has enough speed and size that he can run by safeties, and he's a big time matchup problem for defenses with linebackers and safeties. And so if you have those outside dudes, man, that just opens everything up. If you don't have those outside guys, then like I said, they can press your outside players and they can bracket your good inside players and take them away.
100%.
Coach, here with our allies here, we'd always talk, we wish the Chiefs would have a big-bodied wide receiver. And in Andy Reid's offense, since he's been here, he's overlooked the big-body wide receiver. Currently, Rashee Rice is their big physical wide receiver on the roster at 6'1", 205. And we look back to where we were, or we had a head coach here by the name of Todd Haley. Todd Haley worked his way up from wide receiver coach at Dallas Cowboys. He had Terrell Owens and Keyshawn Johnson. Then Todd Haley went to Arizona Cardinals. He had Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald. He came here to Kansas City as a head coach, and Dwayne Bowe, big physical wide receiver, was really, really good. He drafted Jonathan Baldwin in the first round, another big physical wide receiver. My question to you, Coach, is it's a two-part question. How did the Chiefs get it done by missing on DK Metcalf, George Pickens, and drafting these little guys and succeed? And if you were to come to be the Chiefs wide receiver coach, would the size of these physical wide receivers be a concern to you?
I think the smaller the receiver you have, then the more accurate your quarterback's got to be. And congratulations, you got one. So, does that make sense? Because their catch radius, right? Smaller guys, they're got shorter arms, and the ball needs to be put in better positions constantly. And you got a guy that can do that. But what comes with smaller guys is extreme quickness, because they're not going to, if they're small and they're in their NFL, they're bringing something to the table, and that's either extreme quickness or speed, right? So they're bringing that to the table. And Andy Reid and Coach Nagy, let me tell you something, best in the business of taking the guys that they have, maximizing their talent, and putting their guys on matchups that win. And they're masters at that. If you guys haven't noticed over the years, they do that better than anybody in the NFL. So to them, maybe to another team, maybe if you're talking like the San Francisco 49ers, size would be a problem. But the offense that you guys are running and what Coach Reid, Coach Nagy do in the ability of Patrick Mahomes to put the ball on guys and be an extremely accurate guy, I don't think it's a problem. Obviously, you won the Super Bowl.
We'll take it.
There you go.
We appreciate, by the way, Rob, we appreciate you acknowledging our quarterback, because we also agree he's kind of good too. So we just want to put that out
he's
there.
all right.
He's all right.
Get someone else to agree with us.
I think, and I don't know if you guys saw, the news was, I believe he did make the 53-man roster. That's just what sources are saying.
Yeah,
so we're just,
you guys were holding your breath there for a while.
I was a little nervous, man. I thought it was going to be Carson Wentz season, but we'll see.
White House, Texas in the house.
That's right. That's right.
I had it taken. I wanted to ask the question. My biggest question is about SMU in particular now. But when it comes to the conversation we're having about Rashi and what he does to this offense, the validity he has in this offense, the relevance he has in this offense, when I first saw him come in, I figured, he's going to be a guy that plays his part. He's going to be a guy that adds a little bit of a dimension, because I'm a big receiver kind of guy. I prefer 6'1", 6'2", 200 pounds. Those are always the guys I like to build my offense around. I'm not as much into the speedster guys, but that's clearly Andy Reid and Brett Veach's way. We let it live, we let it be, and it works out more times than it doesn't. But Rashi is special for that reason, though, is that he breaks that mold. And I think what this offense is transitioning into now is you're seeing this offense built around a 6'5" tight end, and I think it's going to slowly transition to being built around a 6'2" wide receiver out of SMU. And I think that's what Rashi is going to become in this offense if everything goes as planned. But my question to you about SMU is, now that, and we see colleges get this all the time, smaller colleges, bigger colleges, doesn't matter. When you have a player that really stands out at the national level, a guy that's on a dynasty, or, people never forget where they come from. People always know what college these guys come from. And everybody's going to remember Rashi Rice comes from SMU. It's going to add a lot of prestige to your school, I'd imagine. Just like Patrick Mahomes coming out of Texas Tech. It adds prestige to that school. There's more relevance there now. People are paying more attention to those schools. Have you seen any of that yet, or are you anticipating, because of Rashi Rice's ability and what he means to this team in Kansas City, and how everybody's paying attention to the Chiefs and this potential three-peat? Has there been a little bit more attention that's been garnered your guys' direction since this has all been taking place?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially in recruiting. Because I've been recruiting in California. I've been recruiting in Florida, obviously here in Dallas. And all I got to say is, when the Super Bowl was coming around, I was like, hey, man, I coached two guys that are starting in the Super Bowl on the opposite teams, Brandon Ayuk and Rashee Rice. And everybody has heard of Rashee Rice, right? All of the high school recruits. I could say Randy Moss, and they're like, he's an old guy or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, I think Randy Moss, wow, Randy Moss. But a 17-year-old kid right now thinks Brandon Ayuk, thinks Rashee Rice, right? So, because they all watched the Super Bowl, they've all heard of them. And so, yeah, through recruiting, it's huge. I got this right here. It's on my desk. If you guys can read that. Hold on, let me get it right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yes.
That's right there on my desk. Every recruit that comes in here goes, you mean, oh, yeah, he led the entire nation in the country in receiving? Yeah, here at SMU, he sure did. And you can do it too. So, no, it really helps tremendously in recruiting for sure.
Awesome.
Coach, one small thing before we let you go. You've been so gracious with your time. We got it scrolling down here at the bottom. SMU assistant head coach, co-offensive coordinator, wide receiver coach. How do you wear all those hats? How do you find enough hours in the day to do all of that?
Oh, man, it's I just have a passion for kids, and it gives me energy, and so I have a great head coach that I work for, who gives me all the time that I need. I've had, I got a great assistant here with me, Ryan Jenkins, who played for me at Arizona State over there with Brandon. He helps me out coaching these guys. So, yeah, man, it's tough. There's a lot of time. I'm also the academic liaison to the football team here at SMU.
How
too.
perfect.
So
You have that in there real
Add
quick.
on to it.
that's quite challenging if you know anything about college athletics and academics.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of fun. But no, man, I enjoy every minute of it. I got the greatest job in the world, man. I really do.
Real quick, who
Rob-
are you pulling for? Who are you pulling for in the Super Bowl? Brandon Ayuk or Rashee Rice?
Okay. I have a great answer because it's true. I was rooting for every offense. When the offense
fair.
was on the field, I was in a no-lose situation.
There you go.
One of them was going to win, and I was rooting for the offenses the whole time. So I think I think Kansas City had the ball at last? Did they have the ball last? I can't remember, man. I was in
Rashee had a big third down catch to keep the drive alive, and
If Creed Humphrey doesn't low snap it, he might have a touchdown in that Super Bowl too.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, Coach.
First time ever watching the Super Bowl down in Cabo. That was kind of fun.
That's pretty good digs right there.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And hey, you want some better digs? You beat Houston Christian coming up, then you turn around and beat BYU. Then we'll be talking about more Cabo trips, baby.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot,
Absolutely.
Coach. You're the best.
You guys come down here, look me up. We're getting
We will.
tattoos.
Let's get tats, man.
Absolutely.
do it.
Let's
We're
do
doing
it.
Coach.
You already said it.
Always an honor. Take care.
Don't
Appreciate
be
it.
soft. That is the philosophy of Rob Likens, the co-offensive coordinator, receivers coach from the SMU Mustangs. He coached Rashee Rice down at SMU. And I got to be honest, I didn't want to say it with Coach on here, but last year, we weren't necessarily too sure about our receivers coach here, Connor Embry. And I was trying to maybe start to think about connecting some dots here. And it's never too late. You know, Coach Likens is someone that I think he's the exact opposite of Connor Embry, who struggles, you know, maybe to, you know, with
Bring energy, speed.
all that, you know, but it's all good. It's all's well that ends well. We love Coach Likens, and I'm cheering for SMU all season long. They're in the ACC now. Hey, go get a playoff spot. That league is right for the taking. Florida State's already lost. Clemson's not what they were. You got Louisville, Georgia Tech. You got Duke, North Carolina, a bunch of teams that just kind of ho-hum. Let's go SMU. And Coach Likens, although they did narrowly escape from Nevada, I'm a little concerned. As was Coach. It's fair.
Yeah, RJ Maryland had to bail him out. That defense was letting him down there, but they figured it out. They got it done. As the Chiefs have done, they figured out their roster. They've whittled it down. This looks cut and paste because it is. It was last minute right before the show, so you're lucky you even got it here. But this is the roster. You see the quarterbacks, obvious. Carson Steele makes the roster with CEH as the 3 running backs. Also Pacheco, obviously. Kelsey Gray. The Chiefs traded for Peyton Hendershot from the Cowboys and then Jared Wiley. And then you can see the receivers there. That was a big one. Where's Kadarius Title? No. Justin Nico? No. Sky Moore makes the roster, ladies and gentlemen. Wow.
Bummer.
Yeah,
That
that's a tough one to swallow. I'm not having fun digesting that. It's not going down easy, and it never will because I'm guessing him and McColl are just going to be on this roster forever. And at defensive end, the Chiefs traded for Cam Thomas from the Cardinals. So he provides some much needed depth there with Charles Amenahu starting on the PUP list, and he'll be back probably sounds like late November if you listen to Charles Goldman, and I do. Linebacker Cam Jones, Jack Cochran. Cornerbacks, Josh Williams, Nick Jones, Jalen Watson, Najee Johnson. Chris Roland Wallace, an undrafted rookie free agent, makes it at safety. And you're used to Harrison Bucker, the new punter, Matt Ariza, and James Winchester. What do we make of this roster, Clint? I mean, obviously, you're a big fan of Sky Moore, right?
I know. And Lance Whitwell, my guy, sometimes he says it's either I see something that Lance says and I want to like reach through the screen and like try to put him into like a sleeper hold, or I agree with it so vehemently that I want to reach through the screen and give him a kiss on the beard. And that is what we had to happen with the Sky Moore thing. It's like, oh yeah, how are we supposed to, replace this 0.5 touchdowns per season, this 220 yards production per season that he's given us through 2 years? To me, it's a wasted roster spot. Sky Moore is a complete bust here. Let's just be honest about it. Lance, I agree with you. Take us more in depth as to what you were kind of getting at when you said that, because I mean, I can't agree more, but I think you broke it down even better than I could.
The thing I don't understand about this, the logic of it, I'm just trying to understand what Brett Veach and Andy Reid is coming from with this, or even Dave Tobe, because Dave Tobe has a say in how the roster is built, especially at this position. What I don't understand is we now can comfortably say we know who Sky Moore is. He's played over 33 games. He has those stats that you just alluded to. He doesn't provide anything for special teams. He doesn't get open. He's not a good player. But yet you're giving him another chance, another opportunity when there are other guys on this roster, at least that were coming into today, that had shown us at least glimpses that they could do at least what Sky Moore has done, and not, if not better. So what I don't understand is, why are you giving a guy that we do know what he is, which is not good enough, another opportunity in a year when we know that every positional piece counts and matters, because this is an all-in year more than ever. You're going for history. And you're not only keeping 7 receivers, which usually goes against the grain of what Andy Reid is and what he believes in, because usually he keeps 5 or 6. It's now back-to-back years of 7, and we saw how disastrous last year's was. You're now going to do the same exact thing, and you're keeping one of the guys that was one of your worst, most useless pieces in the same rotation. Now, granted, he falls down the list because you bring Juju back, Rashi's a star, Xavier Worthy gets drafted, obviously Hollywood Brown's brought in. but Sky Moore still holds no relevance. And if he holds even less relevance to the production of the offense, why are you keeping him? Because let's say one of these guys gets hurt, you're just going to get more of the same of what you got from Sky Moore before in 2022 and 2023. So instead of having Nico Remigio, who offers also punt and kick return ability, you're going to keep this guy who has more muff punts in his career than touchdowns. I don't understand it, man. Like I'm gonna choose peace over this because I know this team is so damn good that we're sitting here bitching about a seventh receiver on this roster. But every piece matters, man. And I could not disagree with this decision more than what the Chiefs have done. I love the Kadarius Toney cut. We could talk about that. But keeping Sky Moore, I would love for somebody in the chat. I'd love for somebody on the show. I'd love for somebody that decides to break into my house right now to let me know what relevance this man has to this damn team. I don't see it.
It's going to be hard to find that, Lance.
It's the fact that he was a second-round draft pick. The fact that if Brett Veach, let's say hypothetically Brett Veach cuts Sky Moore today and keeps Nico Remigio, then there's going to be some criticism on him because they're going to be like, well, his first second-round draft pick, Breland Speaks, is already hawking a Super Bowl ring. Sky Moore, it looks like Brett Veach may have trouble drafting second-round draft picks. So I think he looked at that and thought Sky Moore, Nico Remigio, and thought, well, if I keep Sky Moore, then I don't have to worry about getting any crap for having a bust for my second round.
You can say that, real quick, I'll say this, but Rashee Rice is showing you he can do it in the second round. And also, if you look at what he gave up for Kadarius Toney, it's almost the equivalent of a second-round pick. He gave up a third and a sixth, and he was supposed to be wide receiver 1 coming into last season. So there's even more expectation on Kadarius Toney, and they just cut his ass. So I understand what you're saying, Shane. It makes sense what you're saying. And finally, someone's making sense, and that actually made sense. But what I'm saying is that still, when it comes to the comparison of what you've already gotten rid of, if that is your justification, then you might as well have kept Kadarius Toney because you had higher expectations in him. And like I said, you gave up just as much to get him. He may not have been the same context, but you still gave up draft compensation to go and get him from another team. And that obviously fell and blew up. But even Kadarius Toney, you can make a comparison and say he was just as good as Sky Moore was. So it's frustrating in itself, man.
Yeah, we got Bumpa down here saying Sky's got some sort of pictures of Andy and said he'll release them if he's cut. And that makes just as good a sense as anything else because it's can't be because he's a talented player because he's not. At least he hasn't shown that yet. Maybe he's got it in the bag. All chiefed up believes in him, so maybe we should too.
Oh, God.
We got James T. Kirk down here saying, hold off on that sleeper. Clint Lance is preaching about Sky.
No, I agree. I said I was going for the kiss right here. I know no sleeper holds needed. Maybe a figure 4 later.
But some of the moves that we've kind of been talking about, this offense does have a different feel to it going into this season versus last season with Hollywood Brown. He gets back from the injury. Maybe that's why they're keeping 7 because Hollywood Brown is unsure when he's going to return. Maybe week 3. Can he come back any sooner? We'll see. But Xavier Worthy, Carson Steele, and obviously we brought back Juju Smith-Schuster. And then the releases, everyone's favorite rugby player, Louis Rees-Zammit, was released. And we talked about the receivers. Are they practice squad candidates? I'm sure that some of them will come back. Kadarius Toney has suitors. Why? I'm not sure.
No.
Patriots just don't have any receivers to fill out a roster, so maybe they'll do that. A guest of the show, former guest of the show, hopefully future guest of the show, Ethan Driscoll, made it at offensive tackle, and they gave up on the Lucas Niang project. And those trades I mentioned, Cam Thomas coming for a 2025 7th, and Peyton Hendershot coming from the Cowboys for a 2026 conditional 7th. So depending on how much he plays, that could move up to a 6th, but we will see. And Lance, I mentioned Carson Steele there, and he made the roster. You said he was this year's Smith-Marset. There's no way he's gone. Maybe if he plays well, we can send him away for a pick, but I've got this little video here that somehow he made the roster, even though you left him for dead. Crawling out of the grave you left him in, Carson makes it.
Oh, man, that's beautiful. Well done, dude. The Revenant's a great movie, by the way. That is perfectly done. I could not have done it better myself. I'm like Clint now. I'm going to reach in and give you a big old high five for that one, man. But let me just say, I was 100% wrong. Carson Steele is a guy that this team clearly believes in, and I loved it. It was so great because obviously we know that third preseason game is as useless as any game there is. It's all dress rehearsal. But what I loved is it was perfect timing. It was so cool to see where Brett Veach is on the call, with Trent Green and Ari Wolf, and they're sitting there just talking and back-to-back runs, and Steele just houses one, and all of a sudden Brett Veach says, "We love it when players make the decisions for us." At that point, you knew Carson. He just won the job. And seeing his mom on Twitter today talking about how great this is, and dude, that's the thing I hope people understand in all this. In all seriousness, is just because some of us pick guys to make the team or don't make the team does not mean that we aren't rooting for all of them. Trust me when I say, when I saw that Carson Steele did what he did, I could not have been more happy for him and his family, because I am from a family of people that played sports and grew up playing sports, and the feeling of seeing somebody you love and care about make it and do something great, no matter what level it is a great feeling, man. And so I know his family, I know him. This is awesome, dude. And hopefully maybe we can get him on the show one of these days. But this is awesome, dude. And I'm so glad I was wrong, because this kid does have promise. I'm not expecting him to be some badass, some next, all-star or something like that, even though he was already getting those comparisons on Good Morning Football. But if he turns into it, what's the harm in that, man? An undrafted free agent out of UCLA, if I'm not mistaken, coming in here and wrecking shop. I mean, it's only good things, and it's good vibes, like you guys said. Coming into this season just feels different with this offense as a collective. It just feels like they have a little more confidence and juice coming into the season. I love it, man.
Yeah, and Clint, I kind of passed over it there, but Juju Smith-Schuster, adding him, and are some of these cuts going to be practice squad candidates? Will we see a Nico come back, a Justin Ross, somebody like that?
Yeah, can you hide him? Can you get him through waivers? I mean, we've seen this before. We've seen Cornell Powell, seemingly a guy that's always able to do that. Maybe his time's finally up here after 4 years of not developing as a fifth round pick. Juju, guys, I mean, we're 2 years removed from him being, I'm going to just say, and statistically, this is inaccurate. I'm just going to say he had a 1,000-yard season. He missed a game with a concussion. He had like 978 yards. He really was such a huge part. We've talked about last year. What did we miss? Did we miss a Tyreek Hill? Of course we did. But we talked a lot about how we missed a Juju Smith-Schuster, someone that can make a reception on 3rd and 7 and keep the chains moving. He was a part of the number 1 offense in the National Football League. You go to New England, you're going to wind up in Siberia for a season, and it obviously didn't go well there. You come back home, the colors seem familiar, things just seem right. He can go back to Japan this summer to Pokemon conventions, and hopefully he goes back again with another Super Bowl championship. I'm good with it. I love bringing a guy like Juju back. It makes the bottom of the receiving core better, if that makes any sense. Lance kind of alluded to that, where last year, Sky Moore what was Sky Moore going into the season? Was he your number 2, number 3? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that automatically shows you where we've bumped that level down. McCole Hardman wasn't even here. So I think it's only positive. I do have some slight concerns about Juju's medical. We've seen the knee, the ankle. He's got his number 9 back. So all in all, again, we can nitpick this all day, guys, but we went into this knowing we have more answers than questions, and Brett Veach is not afraid to make changes to this roster at the last minute. That's what he did, and I'm good with all of it.
Well, and let me say this real quick, and obviously I would love to hear what Shaggy has to say about this, because I think him and I have seen this the same way as well. But the thing about it also, because you bring up Sky Moore and how he's dropping down a peg, several pegs, and now the responsibility and the expectations drop on him significantly. What you said about Juju being in this offense, that season, Juju was the primary target in the wide receiver room. Now he's wide receiver 3 or 4. So you're getting an ideal situation with Juju, who may not be as athletic as he was just 2 years ago. But even if that is the case, you got to remember he's only 27 years old, and the expectations drop for him as well. So he's only a bonus at this point. Because now you're not expecting the offense to be ran through him and Travis Kelce anymore. It's now him. It's now Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, Travis Kelce, Hollywood Brown, and Xavier Worthy starts to develop, and then it's Juju. So the added depth and bonus of having him back in this offense that he's already familiarized with, it's only made this offense better, like you said, Clint.
Yeah.
It's only a good thing. I know some people say, well, what about his knee? What about that? Guys, I promise you, if he was not able to play football anymore, the Chiefs would not have made this move. They don't ever think about it. How many times do you see the Chiefs bring back players? It doesn't happen. Brett Veach doesn't do that. Once guys are gone, they're gone. They don't bring dudes back. So clearly they saw something that Juju could bring to this offense that they have been missing. And that is the size, the abilities that he's able to get open. He's a reliable guy in this offense. And the last time he was playing here, Patrick Mahomes won MVP, baby. So I just feel really good about this move. I'm not saying he's going to take the offense from being 28 point per game offense to a 35, but this is a guy that if somebody does get hurt, or if somehow, some strange way, Rushy ends up getting suspended this season, you know you have that guy to fall back on. Somebody that has been there before and has done it before in this offense. So unless when I say about the Sky Moore stuff, about somebody give me a reason why this guy is on this team, give me a reason why Juju shouldn't be on this team.
Right.
I agree. You know, another person that's not on that picture was Justin Watson.
That was purposeful.
I understand. And Justin Watson gets a lot of knock because he's a number 4 wide receiver on the team. Is he a 1, 2, 3? No, he's a number 4. And he's the number 4 that replaced Byron Pringle. Byron Pringle was a number 4, and he was solid. And he was the number 4 that replaced Chris Conley. The first year Patrick Mahomes was in the league, had Chris Conley as his number 4 wide receiver. My point is, these number 4 wide receivers don't get the love, and they really don't. They get more criticism, really, because when I would say, man, I really miss Byron Pringle, the common comeback on Twitter or on social media was like, well, he didn't do anything. I was like, are you freaking serious? Byron Pringle didn't do anything. He fit that number 4 slot to a freaking, he was perfect. And the Bears thought of enough of him and gave him a 1-year, $5 million contract. And he came back to the Chiefs and see if they had match it. And they only offered him 1 year, $1 million. So naturally he took the money. Going back to Chris Conley, he had a huge deal after 2018 to go to Jacksonville. What has Chris Conley been since he's left the Chiefs? A journeyman wide receiver. Same thing with our buddy Byron Pringle. What's odd about Justin Watson is he couldn't even get on the field in Tampa. There was a whole bunch of games where he was inactive. Tom Brady was not letting Justin Watson get on the field. But since Justin Watson came in to replace Byron Pringle, he has been that guy that has been a solid number 4 wide receiver. I know he's not sexy. I know he doesn't have any advertisements on TV, but you got to have a number 4, and he is a number 4.
No, I love all this receiver talk. I'm having such a good time.
Yeah, for me, it's not just the bane of my existence to talk about it, except for those 2 names at the bottom, McCole and Sky. But I digress. I can't get into that right now. There's going to be plenty of time for that during the season. So we do have some predictions here. And Clint, I think I'm going to start with you. Our predictions for the season. Clint.
Oh my God. This is talk about putting someone on the spot. We're just rolling out with it. We got it. Baby. Yeah, I got the Chiefs 12-5. You talk about picking losses. It's just a fool's errand. And so I just went with some that makes sense. The Chiefs lost 2 division games last year. So I just went with a couple of those. I don't know. You can't look at these and say, oh, I think the Chiefs are going to lose this for this reason. It's just, you could do it. It's just ill-timed, but I got 12-5 just with that schedule. Gosh, you open with the Ravens, you open with the Bengals. You play all the division winners in the AFC, and you play the division winner from the NFC West and the Niners. 5 losses up there, and that's going to be good for the 2 seed as the Bengals get the 1 because they're playing a non-playoff schedule. I guess a 3rd place schedule there in the AFC North. So my division winners are Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, Texans with the Chargers, Ravens, and Jets. Mike Greenberg, jump on it. Jump on it. You are in the playoffs, Mike Greenberg, not for long, as you lose in the first round. In the NFC, my division winners are the kind of boring, but Niners. The NFC North is the most, that division, as you're going to see, is the most intriguing to me, is I got 3 teams making it from the NFC North, along with the Cowboys and Falcons. How do you pick an NFC South team to win it? It's just almost impossible to pick one. Saints, Bucks, Panther, Falcons, I guess. Sure, that. Chiefs play the Falcons in week 3. I got the Packers and Bears and Eagles rounding out your wild cards there. We'll see about that NFC East. I have a lot of questions. I don't know, where, because you've got 2 NFCs from the East making it there. Yeah, no Commanders, obviously. They're not a real NFL team to me still. So we're looking now at offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year. No, I just flat out stole Max Crosby from yours because I didn't want to find another player to copy and paste. And went with Tyreek Hill's my offensive player of the year, and I was just like, I don't care enough to go find just a random defensive player, Joey Bosa or someone like just whatever, just Max Crosby. I got Dallas Turner as my defensive rookie of the year, and Caleb Williams is my offensive rookie of the year. And Sean McVay, oh my goodness, you guys, Sean McVay, Josh Allen's your NFL MVP. This is a Bills season where the doubters are settling in and they take this division and they rise to the top. They will be the 3 seed here in the AFC, winning that division. And then my Super Bowl, Chiefs Cowboys, only because I've wanted it to happen since I was a kid in 1992. And it finally happens. I don't think the Cowboys are actually going to make it. This is just like what I would like. That'd be kind of cool.
All right, I'll go next here. I got one better than you, Clint. And they only are 13-4 because they rest their starters and they're the number 1 seed. And so they lose to the Broncos at the end there. But they lose to the Bengals, the Niners, and just a weird one at the Browns. And Myles Garrett is getting after Kingsley there and kind of giving the rookie a lesson with the former defensive player of the year last year. And so it's just a weird game against a solid team and a really good defense in the Browns. And then my AFC division winners, Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins, Texans, and then Ravens, Bills, and Jets are my wild card teams. I'm a believer, as you will see, in the Bengals coming this year and coming back as long as Joe Shiesty can stay healthy. NFC, Niners, Packers winning the NFC North, Eagles taking the East, and like Clint said, that's just Falcons. I don't know. They got Kirk Cousins. They have a real quarterback. That's enough to win the NFC South. You have a real quarterback, you win. Wild card, Cowboys, Lions, and Rams. And my offensive player of the year, Saquon Barkley, defensive player of the year that Clint stole, Max Crosby.
I just stole it.
Offensive rookie, Jaden Daniels, defensive rookie, Terrion Arnold, corner from Alabama, who's now with the Lions. Coach of the year, Mike McDaniel, and the MVP, Joe Shiesty, stays healthy, has his receiving core and weapons for one more year till T. Higgins gets out of town. So this is kind of his last opportunity to win the MVP. So Joe takes advantage of that. Then Chiefs, Packers. Like Clint said, I wanted to see it all my life, and I do think the Packers have a little something with Jordan Love, those young receivers, bringing over Josh Jacobs and improving defense. I think they can get it done, get through the NFC, and I've got the Chiefs beating the Packers in Super Bowl 59.
So you have the Chiefs winning at Cincinnati to go to the Super Bowl.
I do.
Yeah.
They go on the road just like last year. Joe's MVP. They beat us in the regular season. Everyone's all on the Bengals, and then we go in there and steal Christmas from them, even though it's past Christmas. But you get nothing. Shane.
Martin Luther King Day.
Yes.
I have the Chiefs being the number 1 seed, going 14-3.
Wow.
Only three losses are to Baltimore, 49ers, and the Raiders. At Raiders and at 49ers, of course. The Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, Jaguars will be the AFC champions, and the wild card will be the Dolphins, Bengals, and the Texans. 49ers in the NFC, Cowboys in the NFC East, Packers and the NFC North, Buccaneers in the NFC South. Wild card being the Lions, Eagles, and Panthers. Bryce Young's ready to throw it to Xavier Legette and get them that last wild card spot.
Oh my God.
There we go. Travis Kelce, the offensive MVP. Nick Bosa, the defensive MVP. Defensive MVP, Carson Steele, the rookie of the year. Terrion Arnold, the defensive rookie, cornerback out of Alabama, the 24th overall selection for the Detroit Lions, and Patrick Mahomes being the MVP. Chiefs, Niners in the Super Bowl. Yes, I have Kyle Shanahan as my coach of the year because the 49ers will be undefeated until they come to the Super Bowl and lose to the Chiefs 44-17.
Oh my God.
That's my prediction. I'm sticking to it.
Man, I love it. Yeah.
Noah, we can't hear you, Noah.
All right, this is where I'm at, guys. I'll just take it over here. No,
yeah,
don't worry about it, brother. So I'm on lockstep with Shane, at least when it comes to the record.
Wow.
I think the Chiefs are going to be 14-3 this season. I think this is going to be the most complete team of the Mahomes era to date.
Damn.
I think this is going to be very similar to the 2020 team. The only difference is the offensive line is going to stay healthy this time around, and the defense will be a little bit better, obviously. I do have them having three losses to the Bees, if you will. They will start the season off 9-0 before going to the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills will find a way to pull that game off. I'm not as big on the Bills this year as some people are, but I think that's going to be a game that matters the absolute world to them. There might be some home cooking with the officiating, and I think that they're going to get that game done. It's going to be a close one, and they're going to get that game won. The Browns are a team I'm actually bigger on this season. I'm going to get to that in a second. I think they're going to really be physical. They're going to be physically dominant, and I think they're going to beat the Chiefs up a lot in that game. It's going to feel very similar to that Packers game last season where it felt like the Packers were slobber knocking the Chiefs around all night long. I think that's what's going to happen in this game, and I think it's just going to be one of those frustrating losses that the Chiefs have, and then we're going to sit here and tell about how this team ain't going to win the Super Bowl again, right?
Right.
And then the Broncos lost. The reason I have the Chiefs losing this game is because there's not going to be a lot of guys dressing for that one, because I think the Chiefs are going to lock up the 1 seed pretty rapidly this season, because if you look at some of the schedule, I know you talk about the Bengals, but I have a take on the Bengals in a second. A lot of these AFC teams that are supposed to be up and coming have tougher schedules than the Chiefs this year. Chiefs actually, if I'm not mistaken, have the 7th or 8th easiest schedule in the NFL this season coming into this year. I know that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things because teams can be better than they were a year ago, but I think overall, when I look at the Chiefs schedule, I always say the Chiefs don't get their schedule. The schedule gets the Chiefs. So I always give the Chiefs the advantage in a lot of the matchups they have. These are my divisional winners. This is the Chiefs getting the 1 seed. The Jets are a team that I've always said, and I know this sounds nuts, but hear me out, guys, on this. This is a team that has been a quarterback away now for 3 straight years. And they've had that quarterback now for 2 years, but he played 4 snaps last season. That is maybe the best roster in the NFL, at least from the defensive side of things. And they have 2 profound skill position players on the offensive side, in Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. You just have a quarterback that can just play good football. Not great. I'm not expecting MVP Aaron Rodgers, but he can just play good football. This is an 11-12 win team right here, especially if you look at their roster and the way, or their schedule and the way that their division's kind of in that middling area right now, where you don't know the Patriots going to be bad. The Dolphins could be a middle tier team. The Bills have lost so many players to injury and to free agency, and a defensive minded coach always makes me nervous. The Browns are a team that has 0 expectation this year and so much talent. Everyone's looking at the Ravens to continue to build on what they've done, but the Ravens have lost so much on both sides of the ball. The Bengals are a team that everyone just pencils in, and I get it, because Joe Burrow is a nasty man. They got a ton of talent. But Joe Burrow's missed 15 games over the last 3 years, fellas. Joe Burrow is a man that misses games. And I am worried that the Bengals are going to continue to have that problem. Therein, I have the Browns sweeping up the AFC North in a very surprising factor. I think Deshaun Watson, with no pressure this time around, knowing this is that final opportunity for him to show if he's a starting quarterback in this league. I think he's going to play good enough. It's going to be a lot like the Jets. Just let your roster do the majority of the work and just stay out of the way, play conservative, and I think they're going to get that done. I think they're going to win probably 10, 11 games. And these are my wild card teams. The Texans have a lot of expectations, but a tough schedule. The Jaguars are a really good team, but I still think they're not a good enough team to overcome the AFC South, because I'm big on Anthony Richardson and Shane Steichen's ability to be able to get the most out of him. And the Dolphins are too damn talented on offense to not make the playoffs. I think that team is probably going to lead the league in scoring this year, and I just think they're going to continue to do what Mike McDaniel's done, which is just develop a very exciting offense down there in Miami. Just don't let it be 40 degrees or else they're screwed. And then on the NFC side, you guys know how this goes, man. I'm big on the Rams this year. I think Sean McVay's in his bag this year. I think that team they showed last season, they're a playoff team with a lot of young, underdeveloped players. That offense is going to be great this season. Stafford's going to be an MVP candidate. The Lions are a team that I think is to be messed with this year. Do I have trouble, dealing with Dan Campbell sometimes with his in-game decisions, but they're too damn talented. They're going to win that division again for a second straight year. The Falcons have one of the easiest schedules in the league. They have Kirk Cousins on a redemption tour. Bijan Robinson's going to win Offensive Player of the Year this year. I think they're going to be a highly touted team, at least to get into the playoffs. I don't think they have a long run. The Eagles are the most talented team in the NFC East. The Cowboys did nothing this offseason to make their team better. The Eagles are going to win that by default. The Niners are too damn good to not make the playoffs. They have the top wild card, followed by Jordan Love of the Packers and the Chicago Bears, because I think Caleb Williams is the truth. That's a very good defense. Eberflus knows his job's on the line. I think he's going to coach his ass off this year. They're going to win probably 9 games and just squeak into the wild card.
Atlanta's scared of Cairo Santos.
You know it, man. I have dreams about the man. Nightmare fuel. And then obviously you can see, like I see, there it is. But as you can see right here, my offensive player of the year, Bijan Robinson. I think he's going to have a 17 to 1,800 yard season, about 15 to 20 touchdowns. I'm not messing around. I think he's going to have a great season. Aiden Hutchinson's going to flirt with 20 sacks this season. You saw how he became a wrecking machine towards the end of last season. I think he's going to continue that. If you look right there on my, what is that right there? What's the middle guy right there? Oh, Caleb Williams, obviously. Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's my guy right there. I think he's the truth. He's going to continue to show why he's on that list. Latu is my dude. I think he's going to have a big season for the Colts. He's going to be one of the biggest reasons why they win their division outside of Anthony Richardson, that skilled offense, and Shane Steichen. Where Shane Steichen falls in as Coach of the Year, I think this is one of the smartest offensive minds in the entire NFL. He was the reason why that Eagles offense was so great 2 years ago, got to the Super Bowl. He's going to continue his ways over in Indianapolis. Patrick Mahomes is going to win his third MVP because Patrick Mahomes finally has the pieces necessary. And what we just talked about, he doesn't need a Tyreek Hill. He just needs a Juju Smith-Schuster. He got his Juju back. He got his Hollywood Brown. He's got year 2 Rashee Rice. He's got Xavier Worthy. Oh, and he's got the GOAT and Travis Kelce, and he's going to continue to pour it on. I think Patrick Mahomes is set for a 4,500 plus yard season, 40 touchdowns, winning the MVP. Those are my individual awards. And if you look at my Super Bowl, Chiefs and Rams, this is the Super Bowl we should have had twice. We should have had this Super Bowl now twice.
If only we drafted
both
DK
times.
Metcalf.
Yes, and it got squandered both damn times. That does not happen this year. We're going to have one of the most skilled quarterback duos to ever lace it up for a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, Matt Stafford, Super Bowl. Chiefs win this game 34-24.
I love it, man.
Hey, I don't know if I mentioned Marvin Harrison Jr. as my Rookie of the Year. Did I mention that when I was skimming across? Marvin Harrison Jr. is my Rookie of the Year.
Steele.
You had Carson Steele. You're already off the Carson Steele.
Oh, Carson Steele. That's right. But didn't I have the NFC Rookie of the Year?
No, I think it's just
you don't do that.
Okay. Carson Steele, baby.
I'm the only my observation is I'm the only person that had the Chargers making the playoffs.
Wow. Harbaugh's going to turn it around in his first year?
Yes.
Whoa.
They do have a last place schedule. I will give Clint that. They do have a last place schedule. The problem is that the depth is just inept on that team, and they have no wide receivers, no running backs.
Jerry Rice will be happy to know that you told him that his son's team will make the playoffs, Clint.
Well,
thank you. Redemption. That's called redemption. Exactly. Man, it's crazy to look at some of that and to just start when you see it, on a macro level like that. It's really good to visually sort of go through all that and look at what is to come and what could be and the matchups you could see. And can't wait to look back on this come January, you guys, because this is why we do what we do. It's a blast, man. This season's ready to roll. We're 9 days away. So
yeah, our show next Tuesday will be 49 hours before kickoff.
I thought you were going to say 49 hours long.
You thought what?
All the way up to kickoff, baby.
49 hours till kickoff.
James, oh man, buddy, we hope not. We hope we don't have to do that again with Jerry Rice.
And my observation from the whole thing is Lance saying Patrick Mahomes doesn't need a Tyreek Hill. He needs a Juju. Obviously, no one cares about me around here because I need a Tyreek Hill, not a Juju, but no one cares about that. So unfortunately,
one more Super Bowls without Tyreek. Damn it! Okay, that's all I need.
I had more fun when he was here.
It was more fun. I will agree. It was a lot more fun.
Xavier, we're showing that. Xavier,
before we go, guys, we do kind of want to address. There's 4 allies here. There's going to be 4 kind of for the foreseeable future. Our good friend Brian B. Shinen was kind of offered. He's got another opportunity, and he's got, with this, what we do, I mean, even for a 1-hour show every week, timing is a huge commitment for all 4 of us to be able to sync up and do this.
Family schedules.
There's a lot of things at stake. So that's why you're not seeing Brian be shining right here, our good friend. And we just, really hope that, cause he's one of the best. Hot 103 Jams. Brian's a pro. He is tremendous at what he does. It's a big loss for us. And, we just hope that Brian does tremendous work and whatever he's doing coming up. We know where that will be on Hot 103 Jams, but elsewhere as well.
Yeah, Brian's been great to work with. Good best wishes, Brian. We're going to miss you, buddy.
Yeah, he's been an integral part of everything we've done here at Starcade, from starting this show, helped get it off the ground, and We're so thankful and happy to have Lance join the team now and help us continue that on into the future, because we've gotten so much bigger ever since you've come on, Lance, and we wouldn't have even been able to get bigger because there wouldn't be a show without Brian, because he brought an audience, he brought entertainment, he brought what he does that only he can bring. And so we're definitely going to miss that. And we're going to keep forging on, and being able to bring him to the Super Bowl and just everything that he's done for us here.
Yeah.
Man, we're going to miss you, but he's not going to be a stranger. We may have him on if he has some time. He said he'd love to come on as a guest sometime and have us on his podcast. When we learn more about what exactly that's going to be and when, we'll inform all of you. But you can hear it in my voice. You can hear it in Clint. You can see it on everybody's face. We're going to miss Brian. We love Brian. Brother from another mother. He means so much to us. He's always part of the Starcade family. We'll miss you, and we're rooting for you, my friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. What a great show. Rob Likens, we thank you. What a relationship we formed with him. And I guess we got to revisit this tattoo situation we just can't get away from, which was supposed to be for Rashee Rice to come on this show. We couldn't get that home, even though he said he would do it. Rob Likens still wants to get Don't Be Soft, and none of us are soft right here. There's no, you won't meet a soft Chiefs fan that's 30 years old or older. I could tell you that right now. There's no Charmin in this group of four.
We're galvanized, damn it.
So,
guys, a lot of scars and scar tissue over here. But one last time for Brian. We'll continue it on, but this one's special. This one's for Brian. Go Chiefs!